listening to the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C and Chino Liao on a special bonus episode of the pod. And when we say special, we mean special because we've got a returning guest, a friend of the pod, someone you've heard many years ago before we upgraded our equipment and our capability of talking to overseas guests. He's also someone you're familiar with, someone who has held championships in and out of the Philippines. You've seen him on TV. You've seen him on the WWE's NXT and Cruiserweight Classic programming. Please welcome back to the pod, HoHo Lun.
Good evening.
Hey, HoHo. Welcome back to the show.
Good evening, Stino here.
Yeah,
The real Manila wrestling champion, HoHo Lun.
Yeah, it's been a while since you've been here in the Philippines. Obviously, when you were last here, you were the MWF champion, the Manila Wrestling Federation champion. So much has happened since then. MWF no longer exists. That championship no longer exists. So
I've never lost, though.
But you never lost. I will not
true.
dispute that. So how have you been? Because the last time you and I saw each other, we were both in the locker room for MWF about a couple years ago.
Yeah, after that, actually a couple of years ago, I already wrestled here full-time for Dragon Gate, and it's been the stuff that I'm doing. We just came back last April from Las Vegas. We did DGUSA over there. By the way, now I am also, handling some sort of overseas business, overseas talents, relationship for Dragon Gate. And then wrestle here in Japan 5-6 times a month. English commentary for Dragon Gate Network every month, monthly show from Tokyo. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, you've got a lot on your plate. What's that like, handling stuff for the office, like let's say the talent coordination, like you mentioned, and then doing commentary and wrestling at the same shows? Like, how do you manage to balance all of that?
Actually, you know what? I've actually been doing this for a very, very long time. You remember back in the days, 2009, I was the founder for HKWF, Hong Kong Wrestling Federation. Since then, I am actually more a promoter than a wrestler. And doing both at the same time is actually what I've been used to do.
Mm-hmm. When you do the commentary for the Dragon Gate shows in English, are you doing it live as well, or are you doing it in post-production so that you can just wrestle and think about wrestling and then think about commentary on a different day?
It is always live. And I remember back in 2020, we used to fly in commentator from the US to do this, Tokyo show and pay-per-view. But then COVID happened, none of them can fly in, and I'm obviously the only person who speaks English over there. They said, HoHo Lun, you want to try and do that? I said, no. No. First, English is not my first language. I need to think a little bit before I actually speak it. And second, Dragon Gate, the pace is so fast. The move is already done, and then I'm still calling the last move.
Right.
So, no, I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
No. You
So-
understand. You got to do that. They said, no. That's
So how
you
did
now.
you adjust? How did you get used to the pace?
I remember
How
the
did you-
first few shows that I called, it's super, super nervous. I've got nothing to say. But my partner, Jay Church, he has been following Dragon Gate for a very, very long time. 20 years. He is the history book of Dragon Gate. So he actually done most of the work, and I'm always the color.
Uh-huh. So he just defers to you and asks, like, let's say, from your perspective as an in-ring competitor, what do you do? Or like if you're in a championship situation, what's your mindset, all of that stuff?
You mean as a commentator?
Yes.
Yes.
It's totally different. There's sometimes that I have to wrestle the opening match, and then I got to jump in back to the commentator work. So took me almost a year to actually adjust, the way I speak, and how to work with Jay, to make sure this work. But at the end it works out now, and it's my 5th year as a commentator as well.
Yeah, I was happy when you mentioned that because I'm a big proponent of people being able to find multiple roles in wrestling because, we all know that an in-ring career, more often than not, you've got a short shelf life, right? So you have to be able to find a different way to contribute to the business and make some money for yourself as well.
Money is more important, I tell you.
It's probably the most important,
Yeah,
if
it's
you
for the
ask.
money.
Uh-huh. I mean, it is a business, right? We call it the business for a reason. So
It
you
is the
do have to
business.
think about
Yeah.
how you're able to pad your bank account and all of that. So
Mm.
I'm glad that you're able to get into all of that. I want to ask about the talent coordination part because you also mentioned that, right? So you're able to do that for the office. What does that exactly entail on your end?
Also, it just come in, at first I was the only one who speak English. I was the only one who wrestled in the US, in the UK, and Southeast Asia. And then promoters from this area start come approach me, hey, Ho Ho Lun, can I get someone from Dragon Gate to wrestle here? Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. We did that for was it SPW Singapore Wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
Did that for them for a few times. Did that for Thailand Set Up Pro Wrestling. Did that for a few times. And then until office find out that, oh, I actually can do this. So why don't give me more opportunity
Responsibility.
to
Yeah.
to 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 do all this? And then we did DGUSA um last not this year, the Philadelphia one,
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania one.
Right,
That
right.
was actually after like so many years, Dragon Gate talent, we don't send so many talent in the US. And actually this WrestleMania in Las Vegas is the first time after like 12 years that we do Dragon Gate USA, like two shows in Las Vegas. And I am lucky enough to be able to involve a big part of it. So, and DG USA is actually a lot of people start watch wrestling. That's
Yes.
where they start watching.
Mm-hmm.
So do I. So I'm actually really, really honored and happy to be given this role.
Yeah, and DGUSA has a history as well of talent who have gone on to mainstream success. I know Pac and Ricochet used to be in DGUSA as well, right?
Yep.
So so many names that we see regularly on TV have passed through the halls of DGUSA. But as it stands right now, Ho, how many talents from Dragon Gate are on its regular rotation are not Japanese?
Um, Me, there's two Mexican dude, Luis Mante and Flamita,
Hmm.
and Jason Lee, who's
Oh
been
yeah.
in Cruiserweight Classic as well. So it's the four of us. The rest are mostly Japanese local talent.
Mm-hmm. And it's great that we actually get to get to have this conversation because getting a lay of the land in the Southeast Asian scene, it's pretty interesting to see where the hubs actually are. And when I say hubs, like the points of intersection for the networks, right? So I've always been very interested in knowing who the main contacts are for these particular spots. And I didn't know that all this time you're actually at the center of a lot of these connections.
Actually, yes, I remember. I'm not the promoter of HKWF anymore, but while I was the promoter of HKWF, one of my vision is to make HKWF Hong Kong Wrestling as the hub of Southeast Asia, China, Asia as a hub to talent exchange, where good shows happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is my vision. But since COVID, I given all my responsibility to my fellas in Hong Kong, and then focus my career here in Dragon Gate. And then I think throughout Southeast Asia, the one who do really, really good is like SPW, Singapore Wrestling. They've been doing a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
During your time as HKWF, you said you were a promoter, right? So was the crossover from promoting in Hong Kong to promoting in a much larger company a big adjustment for you, or was it like fairly simple?
I th- it's it's simple for me. Because it's basically a lot of shows that I've done, to run a venue, to find the talent, to sell the ticket, to do the promoting. Actually, it's the same. It's just the different people that you work as a team, whether it's the team with HKWF or in the team with Dragon Gate. And also this year, when we do DG USA, we work with partners in the US, GCW, Revolution, West Coast Pro. Prestige, all the top indies. It actually easier this way here in Dragon Gate because the people that I deal with has been doing this for a very, very long time. And also, I've spent a year and a half in WWE. I've seen, what the top production is like. So when it come back to a smaller scale, it's actually easier for me. It might be the experience, but it just get easier and easier for me.
Are you the guy who's telling everyone like, okay, maybe we can probably tweak it so it kind of is similar to what they do on a bigger scale, just so you're able to approach that larger standard? Are you that person?
What do you think?
Right, no, because like I just find myself observing whenever there's someone who's been to like a larger stage, right? Oftentimes there might be that urge to kind of get involved and be like, oh, maybe it could be better if we adapt this thing that we would do like in this place or in that place. So like different places have different ways and how they would approach this type of situation.
Yeah, it's right. I also been to China a lot of time, and people in China, they don't wrestling is not a thing in China. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I go to like small town in China, and people don't know they've never seen wrestling before, and then the staff, the lighting staff, even the security guard don't know what they're doing. I mean, they think it's the way they do this, but when I'm there, I'm gonna tell them, we used to do this way, this way, this way, in here and there. Now I know you got very, very limited equipment, but this is the best we can get, and this will be the best we can get, and you have to believe me.
I'm glad that you mentioned how wrestling is still, very much in its infancy in China, and I want to use that as a takeoff point for these whispers, these rumors we've been hearing about in recent weeks about WWE making its way to Hong Kong for an event. We don't know if it's like a house show or a PLE or all of that, and we figure, in as much as I've got my WWE hat on, that I also work for the company, I don't know anything about any potential events in our region or anything. I don't know anything. So I want to ask you, Ho, like based on how you know the Hong Kong scene, what are the odds that something like this could actually happen?
Well, I also don't know anything about it. I probably see the same news that you saw online.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's pretty possible because as I know in Hong Kong, there are like a couple of new stadium-sized arena
Mm.
newly built, but uh, it's not used as frequent as it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So they might give WWE a good deal that WWE might want to do something next year. I don't know. But in fact, back in 2019, I remember they did a tryout in Shanghai.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
then they have a big plan coming out. Okay, this is what we do the next 3 years in China. Big plan. Until COVID happened, the plan disappeared.
Right.
So I guess if they choose Hong Kong as a starting point,
Mm-hmm.
for their China return, it's really, really possible. Hong Kong has a population of 7 million, although a lot of them are not wrestling fans, but we have a big portion of expat who lived in Hong Kong, American, European. These people grow up with wrestling, Indian, Pakistan, they grow up watching wrestling. So they will draw okay, I guess, if they start in Hong Kong. And it will also give them a good, entering point to re-enter China. They did one in Shenzhen, which is like 30 kilometers away from
Yes.
Hong Kong back in a few years ago. And then I think they draw okay is like 2000. Oh, that was 2017. That is like 2 months after I quit
Mm-hmm.
NXT.
Mm-hmm.
That's my that's that's the biggest regret that I have. I can't perform in, Shenzhen. But I
Right.
mean, if they're doing something in Hong Kong, if someone call me, I'll work it out.
So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
so you want to get involved is what you're saying. You want to get involved.
Actually, back in 2019, the Shanghai tryout, right? I was there where they picked Traxxas,
Okay.
Dante Chen,
Yes.
and they picked Ikemen.
Yes.
Well, he's not there anymore,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the tryout. They picked Ikemen and Dante Chen, and I was there as a what role that I had, I don't know. But as a former NXT talent that went there and helped out with the Chinese talent, what to do, and JDL was there as well. Crystal was
Yes,
there.
and Ken Warren.
Ken Warren was there. And a lot of these people, we've worked together for a very long time, and WWE was nice enough to fly me over to Shanghai, to help out, assist in a lot of things. Because that trial, remember, half of them are like local talent, like
Yes.
not local talent, like wrestling talent, but the other half is like normal athlete,
Yes.
kickboxing, bodybuilding. I remember they got a volleyball talent as well.
Hmm.
So when I was there, it's something more easy to communicate if I know how to term it in Chinese and all that thing. So I hope something happen next year, either Hong Kong, Shanghai. Give you an interesting fact, right?
Hmm.
UFC,
Hmm.
they've got their performance center, not UFC gym, like UFC fighter performance center. They have one
Yes,
in
Yes.
in
Las Vegas,
Vegas.
one in Mexico City, and
Yeah.
one in Shanghai.
Yes.
Okay.
If they follow this trend, it is very, very possible that they will have a performance center in China because they already will have one in Orlando. They're building a new one. And they have Mexico City, which is AAA now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're actually their performance center very, very soon. And if they're following this UFC trend, they will need one in China. So we're in a good position. Philippines as well, Korea, Singapore. There's a lot of local talent that is developing.
Hmm.
Right.
If they have something in China that will become a hub for Southeast Asia talent to shine.
Hmm. I'm pretty curious about what the strategy would be in like doing an event in Hong Kong from the standpoint of attracting tourism for that particular event. It kind of reminds me of when Taylor Swift did the Eras tour, and
Yeah.
people were scrambling to buy tickets in all of these places where she would have her concert, especially in this side of the world, right? So like people were trying to buy tickets in Singapore, in Japan, in Korea. So I can imagine if WWE does a show in Hong Kong, which will be the first non-Japan show, non-Saudi show in Asia in 6 or 7 years. I'm guessing
Yep.
Filipinos would fly there and be happy to throw their money at WWE.
Yeah, I'm sure this will be something. You remember back in 2019, they actually did Shenzhen and Manila.
Yes,
Were you there?
I was there. I was there.
For
Yeah.
Manila, yeah, we were both there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully if they choose to hop to be Hong Kong or Shanghai or anywhere, there's only good thing will happen, in Southeast Asia.
How well do you know the promoters in Hong Kong? Not the wrestling promoters, but like the concert promoters or the production promoters, because
The
like these are
events
the guys
people.
that usually bring in acts from overseas.
Yeah, and I know I basically don't know any like concert promoter, but I know a few like MMA promoter,
Hmm.
which is a good friend of mine. If that happened, we can work it out. We can work something out with the MMA side. Actually, UFC did a few, not Hong Kong, but Macau, which is like an hour away from Hong Kong. They
Yeah.
did a few times in Macau UFC. So I'm sure they have some corporate people over there in Macau, who can work it out in Hong Kong. It's like the same. It's like the same place.
Hmm.
So have you or tried sussing out who the people in charge of this whole endeavor is? Like, do you have clues on who you
Yeah,
can
I'm
perhaps
actually
talk to?
pretty interested to find out who will be the one, handling this project. And, I have a lot of ideas in mind. And to be honest with you, I don't think there's a second people than me who is more understanding about the market here, not just in China, but Asia as a whole. I'm in Japan full time, I understand the market. I I don't speak Japanese at first, but now I can understand a bit. And then wrestling in Manila, wrestling in Singapore, Malaysia, all these places, I don't think anybody have done more than I do.
Yeah, you're basically the OG from the scene, you know, like
Oh, I am.
you basically did start the scene, you know, to give you credit, not to call you old, because we're like right around the same age, the three of us. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
calling you old is calling myself old. But you know,
We're all old.
yeah. You mentioned earlier before we hit record that in 2019, when WWE was in Manila, you happened to be in Manila right around the same time. And there was a photo that went around the wrestling circles of you and one Shinsuke Nakamura. Can you tell us more about how the story behind that picture?
I remember the night before was an MWF show, and I was there for that. And Nakamura was my good friend back in NXT days. We travel together, we go eat out together a lot. And then it's NXT, not NXT, that was
SmackDown.
WWE. Yeah, in,
Yeah.
in in Manila. I was like, let me message him and see if he got like 1 million followers on Instagram. I don't know if whether he's gonna reply me. Message him, reply me straight away. Yeah, we're here. So and so. I said, okay, let's go hang out for dinner. He sent me a location somewhere in Makati. Okay, I've never been there, so let's meet there. We had dinner there, took a few photos. And you saw that? You remember that photos?
Yes,
Yes,
of
yes, yes,
course.
yes.
Because
So we were
everybody was
in,
like, "Hey, I think I know where this is," and people
yeah.
started trying to
People
suss out the
started,
location. Oh, let me go look for Shinsuke Nakamura now. And some of us, the older ones, are like, please don't be that
yeah,
stalker."
I remember some of my friends who were at the SmackDown show
Yeah.
wanted to jump in a cab just to head off to where you guys were having dinner. It's like, I'm not too sure we should do that, but
Now the moment you guys see the photo, we already back in the hotel. Just come in and have your have your dinner. But yeah, yeah. That's pretty good time. I remember back in 2019, I actually came in to Manila very, very often, like 3, 4 times a year.
Yes.
Happened to be WWE over here, and then to hang out with old friends. That's pretty awesome.
hmm I remember the last time that we had you on the show. That was pretty recent from when you'd left NXT, right? So I believe it was 2017. So it's been about 8 years since. What's changed between you as a wrestler, as a person then, and you as a wrestler, as a person now?
Getting older,
hmm
move slower, blowing up faster.
Uh,
But other than that, I mean, actually been seeing a lot. I remember first few times when I come to Manila, I was in Macau full time to put on shows in casino. We did show every month. After that, I came here to Dragon Gate, wrestle here like 8 times, sometimes 5 times, sometimes 10 times if it's a busy month, 10 times a month. And wrestling in Dragon Gate is like top class. They've they got the best dojo here in Japan, actually in the world. I think the Dragon Gate dojo is like one of the best in the world. To be able to wrestle here very, very frequently, I mean, there's a lot of things has been changed. The style of wrestling, the movement is so much more different than I was here 8 years ago. The more
mhm.
running, the Dragon style, a lot of running, a lot of, fast-paced move. I'm actually keeping up pretty good.
Yeah, not bad for a vet of what, 15, 16 years or
18
earlier.
now.
18 now.
18.
Shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's like half your life, right? You've been
Mm,
wrestling half your life at this point.
yeah.
But I want to go back to something you touched on earlier. You were at that tryout in 2019 when WWE first laid eyes on Dante Chen, right? And since then, a lot of the Asian talent that have made their way to WWE are mostly Japanese. So
Mhm.
your Kairi Saints, Io Skies, Ikemenjiro, and then you have Dante Chen, the one who's not from Japan. And then you had some of the Chinese talent as well, like Xia Li, Boa, all of that. What does it mean to you to have these Asian talents there, and what do you think do Asian talents need to be able to break through and follow in the footsteps of a Dante Chen?
I mean, let's talk about Japanese talent first. Japanese wrestling has been here long enough,
Yes.
and also WWF have a long history of using Japanese talent. Taka Michinoku, the Philippine wrestling good friend, Mr. Tajiri,
Yes.
and and so many now,
Mm-hmm.
like 6, 7 talent nowadays in the WWE roster. Tosawa, uh, the Io Sky Kairi Sane that you talked about. But outside of Japan, wrestling is still something new. Um, as you said, I am one of the pioneer. I start HKWF 2009, so it's only like 18 years old of wrestling that's going on. SPW is also new. It's pretty new. It's like only 12 years.
Yeah.
And Dante Chen was actually good already before he went to NXT. He was actually pretty good. He's one of the top here in Southeast Asia. He got the height, he got the weight, and he moved really, really agile, fast, very athletic. And he the more important thing is the mentality. You got to treat this as a business, as a career that you want to pursue for your whole life. A lot of young talent in Asia thought they do, but they actually not. I've got a girlfriend date tomorrow. I'm not coming to training.
Mm-hmm.
I've got work tomorrow morning. Yeah, I'm gonna meet my friend for a party tomorrow night. If you have all this thing happen around you, your goal will be moved far away from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so how did you manage to find a life while you were trying to build all of this? Because you're right, everybody's got all these different things going on, but then in a place like Hong Kong or the Philippines where wrestling isn't something you can make a livelihood out of, how can you have a life?
Um, you have to spend time, spend time and effort. That's it. You want to If you want to make something success, it's not only wrestling, it's like a lot of things in life. You gotta spend time, you're gonna spend effort. If you're not doing that, you're not getting anything. Finding a job is easy, work at a 7-Eleven, work at a restaurant, that's easy. You go there, you have enough hour, you get paid, you go home, right? But if you want to build something that's different from everybody else, you gotta spend more effort to do that, which I think a lot of young talent lack. If they have this mentality, they put more effort in the gym, they put more effort in building their own character, doing things on social media. Do your merch. Merch is also, part of your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
that's the
I'm,
advice
pr-
for
I'm
me.
probably going to be asking this on behalf of the local scene, on behalf of the local
Mm.
talent, because, I don't know how you did it back when you were starting here, in Hong Kong and trying to make Hong Kong Wrestling Federation a thing, trying to make wrestling in Hong Kong a thing while, earning money to keep yourself alive. Like, how did you do it?
I actually have my full-time job. I worked at a university and then I worked in a hotel until like 2012. I put 100% on the wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So that means the first 3, 4 years I have a full-time job, but then I take my time after work to, handle all this, the promoting, the training, the 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 developing the other talent to work with partners. Um, but then I still remember I have time to go have a pint, sometime on a Friday night.
All right. So,
It's not that bad, actually.
yeah. I guess the question is really just from the perspective of like our younger wrestlers who are also trying to figure out their way in the world, trying to figure out what their careers would look like, and trying to take this seriously as well. And sometimes it's kind of like those cases where you have a pyramid, right, where you can only have two of the three things. So like
Mhm.
life, a career, and wrestling. So like you can only have two out of the three things at a time.
I think a lot of young talent is now only complaining, oh, I don't have enough matches to do to develop myself a character. Wow, I don't have enough these, I don't have enough that. Well, if you don't have enough that, you just come out and create.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point. If you don't have that, you don't complain. You come in and create something. That's my that's how I initiate HKWF. There's no wrestling in Hong Kong, so I create one.
Hmm. And now it's still a thing, right? Like the Hong Kong wrestling scene still exists to this day.
Still exists, but I mean, young people they still have their complaint. Oh, I want to wrestle a one-on-one match, but all that, but they don't come train. They don't sell ticket. They don't put effort on their social media. That's
Yeah.
the thing. That's the not only Hong Kong, but a lot of other promotion that I've seen Southeast Asia, and it's not like and the thing is about Southeast Asia wrestling, right? Because each promotion we don't have enough talent.
Mm,
Each promotion we have like 10 talent. That's it. So that it's not like the US indie. If you're shit, you're not getting booked anymore, right?
right.
But then we just don't have the enough people that even you're shit and you don't train and you don't do this and that. We don't have enough people, so we have to put you on something
Oh
that
my God, I can
you
relate
know what I
because
mean?
I've been in a company where that was how we did things. Even the shitty ones who didn't train, we would still put them on the card. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because they probably sell like 5 ticket, then it's a new promotion. We really need that 5 ticket. Okay, just come in a 6-man tag match, 8-man tag match, and they still complain why am I not having a one-on-one?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's familiar.
That's the thing about the young talents nowadays, and I don't know after I say this if I whether I got more hated, but I'm already hated in Manila. I don't care.
You, I don't know how often you get to look back on how far you've come ever since your early days in Hong Kong. I hope you do it fairly often because you sound like somebody who's gone very far from the early days in Hong Kong to now wrestling for Dragon Gate. Is that something you appreciate almost in your life at this point?
Yeah, especially the moment when I get into Cruiserweight Classic and that year and a half run in NXT. Um, that moment I was young. I was like, okay, I got this, and then but once I look back, actually, I've actually achieved not bad, right? I've
Yeah.
I've been okay, right?
Yeah. I mean, not everyone says that they got to, work at the Performance Center, work with WWE and all of that stuff.
Or
I don't
have
know
a
if we ever
business?
asked you this the last time we had you on as a guest, so I want to ask this now. How did you end up getting to be part of the Cruiserweight Classic?
Wow. I actually I remember this back in 2015. I was in a tour in Europe. Hey, young wrestler, you got to tour yourself to be seen, to get exposed. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually fund myself to have this Europe tour. I was in Portugal, I remember. Um, I received a short message that, oh, if there's a chance for you to wrestle in a special tournament in WWE, would you be interested to go? Yes. And I sent in my photos, videos, all that. I don't receive anything the next 4 or 5 months until one day I get an email from Mr. Regal.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we're doing a trial in Shanghai and we already have this Cruiserweight Classic fixed. And if you're cool enough, please come and join. That's how I got this. And I actually went to 2016 WWE trial in Shanghai, did that, did Cruiserweight Classic. I was about to just go home and, oh, okay, this dream is over. This Florida dream is over.
Yeah.
I did round two, right? I did round two, and then I was asked, would you be interested to, do NXT as well? Yeah. That's how I ended up in NXT and did that for a year and a half until I made that decision to resign from there.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the goal you had for yourself at the time to be in the WWE? It's like that. That's it. This is the thing I want to do.
It was, everyone as a wrestler will dream of that moment to wrestle for WWE. But then I actually know I'm small. WWE always want big guy until this Cruiserweight Classic theme comes out, and I thought I have a chance. But there's like 2,000 other wrestlers in the world. Why do they choose me?
Hmm.
Until I got this text message, I actually got an advantage because I'm actually the first, not the first, but the first batch of Chinese wrestler. I need to take proud of my ethnicity,
Hmm.
and that gave me a little bit of the advantage to get into the Cruiserweight Classic, where it also fits their WWE China, future plans.
Right.
I
That's when the
think
expansion was happening.
I'm just the luckiest person in the world who was there at the right time.
Hmm. It was you and Jason Lee, right, representing Hong Kong among
Yes,
the
we were.
32.
Yes, we were, and then we were known because, at 2016 we already wrestled so much in Japan, in Europe. I did like a couple of years in the UK. So my name's been thrown around.
Right.
I
And
think that's why.
and like for this generation of wrestling fans, that Cruiserweight Classic is the stuff of legends at this point. It's been 9 years since the Cruiserweight Classic, and
Yeah.
like I don't know about you, but I look back at it very fondly. And it's kind of bittersweet that of the 32, only Akira Tozawa's left there, right? I mean, Lindsay Dorado
Oh,
came
was
back.
it?
Yeah, of the 32, only Tozawa's
Yep.
the one guy who's still there.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
Also a former Dragon Gate guy, so imagine that.
yes.
Yeah.
So, I just look back at it. So, talking to you and you were part of that batch of 32, is pretty insane, even though you and I have shared a locker room a couple of times as well. It's still insane to me. When you look back on that time, you mentioned you made the decision to leave NXT. Do you ever look back at it and feel maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe things would be different had I done this?
Yes, there's a moment that I have that feeling. I mean, that's when a time when I resigned, that's a lot of things happened in my head. Um, my mom got cancer during that time. I was like,
I'm so sorry.
yeah, my family was saying, okay, Chinese parents, they thought I'm there playing in the US. They
Right.
they don't know how big of deal is in WWE, but they thought I'm there playing now. Well, just stop playing and come and stay with your
Right.
mom.
Okay. They didn't know how much money you were making as a wrestler in the US.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, that it's like every member of my family has been saying that. I was like, am I doing the right thing? At that moment, of course, that's the right thing to do, I thought. But looking back, I can actually, take a month leave or, actually fly back to Hong Kong like once every month or something. But that moment, that's one reason, and the other reason is Macau. That casino is actually hiring a person that produce wrestling show over there every day. So I've been in Macau for 2 years. I produced a few big shows. Um, these two reasons combined that helped me make that decision to return to Hong Kong, Macau, and then to all that. And career-wise, I mean, if I'm still in NXT, I would probably get fired after during COVID. I mean,
Right.
but then I'll gain a few years in NXT, which will be good to my career. But actually, good to my career being in Macau as a producer to lead a team to do all the show. Um, is something unique. You cannot get it when I was in if I was in the NXT, as a producer, as top producer, to in charge of almost everything that over there. And then these 2 years in Macau helped me build my business skills. I was only like 27 that moment. Well, 30, probably 30
Uh-huh.
when I was in Macau. And Macau, all the businessmen in Macau, there's a lot of casino in Macau. The
Right.
Right. Yeah.
businessmen there are like real businessmen. They are so sensitive to the numbers, to like a dollar. So that built me a different set of skill set. There's no right and wrong, but just that moment, that's the right thing to do. That I did it, and if it's not that, if I'm not in Macau, I would not be able to do Dragon Gate Hong Kong that moment. If I'm not doing
Mm.
Dragon Gate Hong Kong, I wouldn't be here.
Right. Yeah. You know
So it's
that
just
it's
life.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One good way to look at it is it's interesting because you mentioned Macau to us during this interview, and can you describe to the listeners what it's like to start a promotion, let alone start a wrestling promotion in what people consider the Las Vegas of Asia?
Yes, Macau is the Las Vegas of Asia. There's like 30 plus casino in a small city in Macau. Um, so this was initiated by a nightclub. You call it a strip club, but I call it a nightclub.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
But the dancer strip.
Okay.
So it's a nightclub with stripping dancer over there. So the owner of the nightclub is he wanted to do wrestling for a very long time. He has been living in South America for a very long time. So he has been growing up watching Lucha Libre and all that stuff. He wanted to do it, but he just don't have a person to be the glue to stick it all together. And then I think he knew me while reading newspaper, shit like that, and then he get contact to me. But that I was still in the WWE that time. I was like, I wanted to help you. I can go to Mexico and help you contact with the wrestler, but I can't be there in Macau for you.
Hmm.
Um, until my mom's happened, and then okay, let's do it.
Hmm.
So we have actually been talking about this for like a year long until it actually happened. So this wrestling arena is actually next door to the nightclub
Oh.
in a casino complex. So the
Okay.
shows there is every day. I remember the first couple of weeks, there's all sold out, like 300 people watching the wrestling every day. But sometimes we have bad day. It's like really bad day. It's like three people watching, three person
Uh-huh.
Wow.
watching a wrestling show that
Yeah.
performed by 10 wrestlers. We
Hmm.
have a single match, tag team match. So 10 person, 10 person perform for three customers. Um, but then that's the experience, you know. We're a casino complex, we're a nightclub, and then the show has to go on whether there's one person.
Yeah.
So that's the lesson to learn.
Yeah.
After that, they sent me to China. We have a New Year, Chinese New Year parade.
Mhm.
We did it in a theme park in China. Have the same wrestler over there in the theme park. The theme park is awesome. It's like the big theme park. There's like 10,000 people come in to watch wrestling.
Wow.
It's like 10,000 for the 2 weeks of Chinese New Year. So that's another experience, you know. That's a few project that we have done in Macau. There's another one we have like live stream in a big stadium arena for 3,000 people. Streaming like 1 million people have watched the stream. So that's a lot of things that have been achieved while I was in Macau.
So, Ho, you've seen it all. You're a vet and you've competed in the biggest of venues and also the smallest of venues. But I want to know the shittiest place you've ever had to wrestle in, like the crappiest circumstances that you've had to perform at.
Um, the three-person that I talk about in Macau, of course, one of my crappiest. Um, I remember, where did I went? I can't say it's crappy. Um, there's one time I wrestled in Nepal.
Okay.
Wow.
When you're there, the wrestling ring is like, okay, it's a little bit like unsteady, and
Mm-hmm.
they have an entrance stage. I remember right before the show when everybody get in for group picture, some of them just broke. The
Okay.
the, the stage just broke. The leg it suddenly go thick.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't like collapse the whole thing. It just not flat.
Right.
So I was like, okay, is it gonna hold? Is it gonna hold? And it's a big arena. It's like a football stadium. I was like, it's actually people coming in. And the backstage was like so unclean. It's
Mm-hmm.
like dust is everywhere. It's mud over the floor. I was like, okay, this is interesting. Um, it's not it, it the venue is a little bit crappy, But the moment my music hit, I walk out, there's like 3,000 people sitting there.
Wow.
I was like, wow, wow, really? I did that match, and yeah, one of the experience in Nepal.
Hmm. I ask this because I think one of the shittiest experiences I've had was we had to do a show in this basketball court, and at the time there were people whose houses were burned, and the refugees were all housed in that basketball court,
Oh,
and the
really?
local government officials kicked the refugees out of the basketball court so we could have wrestling there. And then these people were outside looking in through the chicken wire and through the fence as people were charging them for tickets to watch when minutes earlier they were just inside. The lighting was terrible. Our backstage was just a tent, and then it started to rain and we all had to crouch under these tiny tents in the dark, no lights whatsoever. And then when the show started, we had all of 3 people watching the show.
Really?
And the
3 people is
refugees
the worst.
outside. And the refugees outside.
Yeah, at least HoHo,
You
you
should
were in
keep
a
the refugee in.
Yeah. At least, I would rather be in HoHo's position because at least he was in a casino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With 3,000 people.
Good aircon and
Yeah. Yeah, we had none of
yeah,
that. We just had
three,
refugees awkwardly looking at us.
3 people in a basketball court versus 3 people in a casino. I'll take the casino anytime.
Anytime, yeah. For sure. For sure.
So you touched about wrestling in China quite a bit on this interview here, and you've talked about how wrestling isn't really a thing in China. So having wrestled there so much, did you go into it with certain expectations?
When I first started, there's actually no wrestling there. Um, I did travel to Guangzhou to wrestle quite a bit in my early days, and they have a wrestling ring in a gym, and they did like monthly matches, but nobody actually come in and watch. The people who's watching is actually people who's working out between sets, do a few bench press, and then come to watch a little bit of wrestling, and then do another set. Or the kids who just finished karate class and come in and watch all this. But then there's no wrestling fan. Wrestling fan will not fly over to watch a show like what we always do. But it's been so many years now and developing. There's a few promotion in China now, MKW, KOPW, and then there are a few newer ones. And MKW actually did one of the best production over there in China. We did a show I'm actually the MKW champion right now. Woo! And we actually did a show in Beijing. And actually, it's the first wrestling show in Beijing for so many years. The funny thing is, like 12 years ago, the wrestling show in Beijing was a Dragon Gate show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Funny enough.
Yeah, full
And then,
circle.
Look at
yeah,
that.
we did that in Beijing. We drew about 400-500. But then there's actually Beijing local fans, which I know online for a very long time. And they said, oh, we finally met. Who are you? We met on WeChat and shit like that, and QQ. I said, oh, yeah. And they did really, really awesome production. And there's actually wrestling fan from South China flying into Beijing to watch that match. But I mean, the wrestling hub in China is still in Guangzhou area. A lot of wrestlers reside this area, and there's a few promotions actually doing shows in Guangzhou area. It's almost like every week now. From small show for 50 people or bigger show for 300-400 people. They all have KOPW is the pioneer in Guangzhou. And then there's a few promotion who focus on doing like bar show or restaurant show. But we're not talking bar show with doing like wrestling on a crash pad. They actually build a ring over there. We used to do that like back in the early days, just 2 guys slamming each other on the floor. But nowadays it's more developed now. Everyone owns a wrestling ring now. Set a ring in a nightclub and do all that.
Yeah, I long for a time where we can actually get back to where we have our own ring, but that's a different story for another time. As we begin to wind down here, HoHo, what are some events you've got going on that are streamed online that our listeners can check out if they want to see you wrestle in 2025, either with Dragon Gate or with MKW?
You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter at HoHo Lun 719. And Dragon Gate, I'm always on English commentary, sometime wrestle. So follow on Dragon Gate Network, which is 1,650 yen per month to
Yeah.
subscribe it. And I might come back to Manila very, very soon.
Yeah. How soon is soon? What do you have your sights on if you ever come back to our part of the world?
Can be as soon as the next couple of months, I tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking to a lot of people in the scene in the Philippines. FPW, Puso, Dexcon. What else are there?
Yeah. World Underground
Yeah,
Wrestling. Yeah.
yeah.
You.
So
I know you've got some old scores to settle as well back here.
yeah, and I'm the real Manila wrestling champion, and I've never lost. I
For
don't
whatever
know
that's worth.
who owns the belt now?
I
Where's
have
my
no idea.
belt?
I have no idea. That's way beyond my pay grade.
I might have to come back and find my belt and keep defending my belt. I don't. The promotion is not there anymore, right?
Yeah. Promotion's
So
dead
do I
and
still
gone.
count as a champion or what?
I have no idea.
There's a funny thing. I haven't lose my belt, right? But then there's one time JDL and someone had the title match without me.
Uh-huh. I think that was JDL and Fabio, was it?
I can't remember who, but they had the title match without me. I was like, okay, and someone won it and wear the belt. So that's my belt.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a claim.
We're gonna have to
Yeah.
go on a search for that.
you have a
if and
claim.
when you make your way over.
Yeah, so I have already been talking to people in one of these three promotions, and then I'm sure we'll find a way to come in and entertain my fans.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, the hour just flew by. I had a lot of fun, picking your brain once again, and getting to know some new stories from HoHo Lun that
Same.
we
Yeah,
didn't get to
nobody
hear last
represent
time.
Manila wrestling more than I do.
But
You're
as
the
far
real
as
Filipino champion. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
hey, as far as we're all concerned, you're an OG. You're one of the godfathers who set up this Asian wrestling scene that we all get to enjoy to this day. So my hat's off to you, good sir. Thank you for everything you've done for the scene. And thank you for joining us and, just regaling us with tales from your time in the industry.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll meet very, very soon.
Hmm. And
I
if
hope
that
so.
WWE event in Hong Kong happens, you and I better link up.
Oh yeah.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah,
Thanks,
for
HoHo.
sure. Thank you.
So that's going to do it for this episode of the Wrestling Podcast. Thank you very much to Babyface producer Jasper for putting this together. Follow our guest, HoHo Lun, at HoHo Lun 719. I'm at _Stan C. Chino's at Chino Supersized. Ro is at Ro is War, and Emil is at EML_Meister. For the show, it's at Wrestling2X Pod on TikTok, Twitter, and Blue Sky, at Wrestling Podcast everywhere else. We got to get out of here. So on behalf of HoHo Lun and Chino Liao, I'm Stan C, reminding everyone to stay safe, stay dry, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast. Out. Later.